Hello and welcome to Shafi Academy with Dr. Yusuf Noor. Today in this video I would like to teach you all about powers, the negative, the positive and zero powers of algebraic indices. So let us start. We're going to learn zero power and negative powers of algebraic indices. First, to learn an object explains zero powers. So you must be able to understand what do we mean with zero powers. Okay, simplify negative powers and finally evaluate power of a power. Let us start first with zero powers and see what do we mean. Okay, if I take for example 1 and I take x power of 3 divided by x power of 3. As we have seen before, when you get a division, you need to take away the two powers. The last lesson was dealing with this. And that gives you x power of 0. Now similarly, if we take, for example, x power of minus 3 divided by x power of minus 3. Lose what's going to happen. X minus 3 take away minus 3. And that 2 minuses gives you plus. So you got 3 minus 3 plus 3. And that gives you x power of 0 again. We can do same for multiplication rule. We can say x power of 3 times x power of minus 3. And that gives you x power of 3 plus minus 3. You need to add the two powers. And that gives you x3 minus 3. Which gives you x power of 0. So there's different ways we can get x power of 0. If you look this number now, we got x power of 3 divided by x power of 3. What can you say about those two numbers? Well, if you look them, they're exactly the same. So when you divide two numbers which are exactly the same, you end up x power of 0. But as you know, if you divide two numbers which are exactly the same, the answer gives you 1. That's what we know. If you divide 9 by 9 or 10 by 10, you got 1. So x power of 0 is 1. If that x power of 0 is 1, this x power of 0 must be equal to 1 as well. And if that's 1, this must be 1. What conclusion can we get from this? This is the conclusion. If you got two numbers and they got the same powers and you divide it, you end up m take away m, which gives you m power of 0, which gives you 1. And every single number with the power of 0 is equal to 1. Doesn't matter how big or small the number is, if it has got a power of 0, it's always equal to 1. That's what we mean zero powers. Zero powers are equal to 1. And why they're equal to 1 I explain here, because those two numbers are exactly the same, and if you divide two exactly the same numbers, you always got 1. Take 9 divided by 9. Take 2 million divided by 2 million. Take minus 5 divided by minus 5. You always got 1. Okay. I got here a few questions for you to try. You can stop the video and complete them. Fine. I think you're done. So let's do it together. Now the first one, there's no working out. We have to say this equal 1. This one, we're going to say x power of 3 take away 3. This was one of our examples as well. And that gives you x power of 0, and that's 1. What about this one? Let's do it. X power of 5, this plus minus 5. If you times them, you need to add the two powers. That gives you x5 minus 5, and that's x power of 0 again, and that's 1. Okay, so we finished zero powers. Okay, and that was the formula that we're supposed to use it. Now, before we go to the negative powers, there's one basic concept that we need to revise. And the reason being is we need this later when we are dealing with negative numbers. So you got reciprocal of a number. You still remember, we have seen a number of times. You have seen in arithmetic. And also you have seen what we are doing perpendicular lines, the gradient of perpendicular lines. But let's revise. Okay, I'm going to give you a few numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. And I got here the reciprocal. Your task is to stop the video, draw this table, and match them. Okay, I think you have done, so let's do it together. Okay, let's list first the numbers. That's the numbers. Okay, if you've done very well, the reciprocal of 1 is 1. We see what the reciprocal is later. And you can feel that the reciprocal of 2 is 1 over 2. And the reciprocal of 2 over 3, we flip it, 3 over 2. And the reciprocal of 3 is 1 over 2. What's happening here? This is what's happening. The reciprocal of any number is 1 divided by n. So if I ask you, what is the reciprocal of 5? You will write down 1 over 5. If I ask you, what is the reciprocal of 7? You will write down 1 over 7. Reciprocal of 2 over 3 is 1 divided by 2 over 3. By just using the multiplication of fractions, you end up 3 over 2. This is what we're going to use when we are dealing with negative powers, as you will see in the next slide. Negative powers. Let me take some examples now. Let us see where it comes from. So if I take example 1 now, and I take x power of 2 divided by x power of 5. Let us apply this to a multiplication rule. Let us say that's the same as x times x at the top. And let us say that's the same x times x times x times x and times x finally. 5 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you know, x divided by x, we can cross those two. That gives our 1, and that gives our 1. Which simply means at the top we got 1. What do we got at the bottom? We got x times x times x. That's what we got, x times x. That's what's left. And x times x times x, as we've seen, we can write down as x power of 3. Let us keep in there. Let us do this in another way. Let us say x divided by 2 divided by x divided by 5. I'm going to apply the division rule, which we have learned. So I'm going to take away the 2 powers. That gives you x minus 3. One side, we got x divided by 2, x power of 2 divided by x power of 2. When we use a multiplication, we find 1 divided by x power of 3. And when we apply the division rule, that's what we got. We can simply say now that x minus 3 is the same as this. So those two are same now, because they come from exactly the same question. One time I apply the multiplication rule, one time I apply the division rule here. Okay, so this 1 divided by x power of 3 is same. What we can now say, we can say x divided by minus 3 is simply 1 divided by x power of 3. And in this way, you get rid of the negative power. Okay, so x minus power of minus 3 is this. We have seen it. Now if you look here, this looks like a reciprocal of this one, but we change the sign as well. That's why we introduced the reciprocal. So instead of going all of this, if you find x power of minus 5, all what you need to do is, and the question is, write down as a positive power. That's what you need to write down. Another one, if you find x power of minus 1, you're going to write down as 1 divided by x. Okay, and this is the law. Any number with a negative power is the same as 1 divided by an. I think you understand. So, can you try these 3 equations? You can stop the video and try. Fine, I think you have tried. So let's do it together. This one we just apply the formula straight away. We just write down 1 divided by x power of 2 without negative. This one we need to do a bit. Let's apply the division rule. Okay, so that gives us x minus 4. We don't leave like that. We don't like a negative powers. So we're going to write down as a reciprocal without negative. Let us see this one. It's x power of 3 plus minus 5. What that gives you? That gives you x3 minus 5. And that is x minus 2. And finally, that one you can write down as this one. x1 divided by x divided by 2. This is all about negative powers. Okay? And that's the formula again. A power of minus n is 1 divided by a power of n without negative. Last thing. Power of a power. As usual, I'm going to start with examples. What do I mean with a power of power? Now, suppose that you got, let's take a very easy one, x power of 2, all of them power of 3. This is a power of a power. Let us do this. As we know, x power of 2, 3 lots, is the same as x power of 2 times x power of 2 times x power of 2. That is what it is. You see, we got x power of 2, power of 3. So we got x power of 2 3 times. Now, if I applied this to the multiplication rule, I can simply say I need to add the 3 powers, x plus 2 plus 2. And that gives you x power of 6. Now, if you compare this 6 with those 2, you will see something. But let's take another example to make it very clear. Now, suppose that I take x power 4, power 5. Now, that's the same as x power 4 times x power 4 times x power 4 times x power 4 times x power 4, 4 times. And if you apply now the multiplication rule, which says you need to add the powers, if we add 5 4s together, you know we are going to get x power of 20. Now let's stop there. How 6 and 2 and 3 related, and how 20 and 4 and 5 related? You can easily say 6 comes from 2 times 3, and 20 comes from 5 times and 4 times 5. So if I go now this, x power of 2, power of 6, I don't need to do it this way. All what I need to do is 2 times 6. I need to times the 2 powers together, and that gives me x power of 12. Same way, number 4, if I go 2x, okay, and all of them power of 2x squared power of 3. Now this bit trick, I need to give, for example, if we do the traditional way, is 2x squared one time, times 2x squared another time, and times 2x squared another time. And that gives you 2 times 2 times 2, that is 8, and x squared, you add the 3, and the 2 is still 2 plus 2 plus 2, and that gives you 6. Okay, now if you look carefully, what's the power of 2 is 1. You can easily say this is the same as 2 has got a power of 1 times 3. And x has got a power of 2, but times 3. And that you end up 2 power of 3, x power of 6. And you know 2 power of 3 is 8, and x power of 6. So this is how you apply to it. This is the power of power. And the formula says if you got a, m, power of n, you times the 2 powers together. Now, here I got a few questions for you. And this is the formula which says a, m, n, you need to times those two. You can stop the video and try it. Okay, I think you have done, so let's do it together. Okay, let us times the 2 powers. So that gives us x 2 times 3, and that's the same as x power of 6. This is x minus 2 times 4, and we know minus 2 times 4 gives us minus 8. Should we leave like this? No. We have learned the negative rule, so we're going to write down as a reciprocal with a negative. This one, we're going to do first what's inside to get one number. Okay, so we're going to keep this and say in x2, take away 6. That's what we got inside, Pitman's rule. And that gives you x power of minus 4. Okay, power of 2. And that gives you x minus 4 times 2. And that gives you x power of minus 8, which is again 1 divided by x8. So in principle, this one and this one are same. Okay, that's for today. Make sure that you complete the worksheet that goes with this lesson, and make sure that you use the answer sheet to mark your work. Thank you for watching, and see you in another interesting maths lesson.